I was trying to think what would I say today, because there's so much you could say, and you probably are much more expert in knowing about Don Bosco than I am, because you're here at the school, and he did promise when he was dying that he would be linked especially to all those who were followers of his in some way or other through the many schools and institutes right throughout the world of the Salesians. And you're obviously people directly linked to Don Bosco. Anyway, think a little bit about his life. It occurred to me that 3 or 4 points that maybe he would say if he were here. I tried to imagine what might he say. So, I'll offer them. See what you think. Would he have said them or not? I think the first thing he would have said maybe would be, aim high in life. It is good to aim high. Aim high in all kinds of ways. Do your best, the best you can do. Nobody's talking about extraordinary force, but the best you can do. Certainly in your exams, you'll be having them in a few weeks' time, some of you. Certainly in sports, certainly in music, with some beautiful music here today already. In the various tasks you take on, it is important to aim high, the best you can do. But in saying that, it's important to aim to the highest of all, which is God. Sometimes we can think maybe that God's like the end of a mathematical equation. You work all the bits out and you come to a conclusion. Whereas God is beyond the conclusion. God is beyond all our conclusions. So it's worth basing our life on God. When I read this gospel, always I talk about lawyers. The lawyers always come out badly sometimes with Jesus. I myself studied law after college, but at a certain point I understood this isn't what God wants me to do. He wants me to do something else. That's the point. Our lives are something we build with God. And it's important to put God in the first place in your life. Aim high in everything, but above all in God. Because God gives perspective. During the week I was in Rome and just came back last night, but while I was there I met the parents of a young girl, Chiara Luce Badano, who was beatified, canonized by the Church almost 3-4 years ago. And it was lovely to meet her parents, ordinary parents. Father was a truck driver, mother I think worked in a shop. But their daughter, at 18 years of age, became a saint, literally in the sense that unfortunately she had contracted an illness and died, but her life, which was a very ordinary life, she was into tennis, she was into skiing, she was into swimming, but she became a saint because she put God in the first place in her life. And that meant she put love, Christian love, in the first place in her life. The second thing that perhaps I think Don Bosco might say would be, choose good friends. I'm always struck by the fact that the Salesians started when Don Bosco, together with his companions, made a promise to one another. They declared to one another this promise that they would remain faithful to one another in this project, which then became the Salesian order, a new community. You can do so much with friends. Friends are like a fortress that protect you. But it's important to choose good friends. There can be all kinds of reasons why somebody isn't actually good for us for one reason or another, and it might be nothing directly to do with that person, but it is important to choose good friends. I remember a girl telling me some years ago where she was from England. She had quite good friends that she'd grown up with and she'd gotten to know, and they used to go to church regularly together. They were good living, put it that way for a moment, and they were good friends. But at a certain point, when she was in college, she decided to drift on a bit, and she decided she'd go for a year in Australia. And she wasn't too sure about these friends she had anyway. So she went off to Australia, and she made new friends, and the new friends were into everything. So this was great. But at a certain point, one day, they were out in literally the back of beyond somewhere in Australia, and they were wanting to get back to the city where they lived. The bus came along, but the bus was packed, and the friends all got onto the bus, so-called friends, all got onto the bus, and she was left. The friends saw her, left her there. They went off. And she said in that moment she realised something really important, that the people she thought were friends weren't friends at all. The real friends she had were those who were prepared to help her in her journey, who made sure that the best came out in her life. Another point I think Don Bosco might say would be this: have a good code of behaviour in life. None of us can live a fulfilled life without some kind of shape or make to it. Just as much as nobody can play a hurling game without the rules and regulations of the hurling game, none of us can sing good songs without the musical notes in front of us that give us the chords and everything else. Likewise, life, too, isn't haphazard. There's a shape to it. And the best code of behaviour that we have, given to us by Jesus, is the gospel. You know, it's a small book. We might forget how important it is. But the gospel contains the code of life. When I was around your age, I remember beginning at night time trying to read some of that gospel. And I'd invite you to do the same. I remember somebody explained to me a little system. Why not just take a sentence of the gospel and try to live it out in your life and share what that means? So I put it to you, the gospel is a code of life that certainly Don Bosco made his own. He'd love you to make your own. And the last point, follow good role models. Don Bosco himself took Francis de Sales, who had been a bishop well before Don Bosco's time, in Geneva, a man who had a bit of a fiery temper when he was young, but had managed to, through the gospel, develop a more gentle approach to life. And John Bosco took that as his model. You too have a choice. Take good role models in your life. The people who are good inspiration. Clearly we've Donald Walsh and people like that in recent times who I think have struck a lot of people. There's a lot of good role models around. Follow them. So there are the few things I wanted to say. Aim high, choose good friends, have a good code of behaviour, the gospel, follow good role models. I think Don Bosco would want to say those things anyway, many other things as well. You're at an important time, you're at a good time, you're searching. It's important to search, it's important to discover. Someone told me recently at this meeting I was at in Rome the past few days of a new initiative, which I recommend to you. It's a Twitter system, tweetingwithgod.com. I recommend it to you, tweetingwithgod.com. Look it up. It's been started in Holland. They're about to launch the English version, so I let you find it out. You're more expert at finding it than I did. I tried to find it. I more or less got it, but they tell me it's going to be out soon. It is very short tweets, literally, on important questions to do with everything, to do with God, faith, life. Look it up. It's worth looking up. Above all, I wish you happiness, because Don Bosco would want that. He said, really, happiness was consistent with being, holiness was consistent with being cheerful. There's no such thing as a sad saint. Be happy because that's what God wants for you. And always remember that. Don Bosco did say when he was dying that those who would be in his colleges and everything else would be linked to him. You have a great friend in high places. You have a great friend in heaven. Trust in him, ask him to help you, ask him to live a happy life as God wants it.